All right, prompt number 8, the uniqueness prompt. What makes you stand out prompt, the open essay prompt, the personal statement prompt. Guys, a lot of students will write prompt number 8 to also become their personal statement for their private schools, coalition app, common app, whatever it may be. If you're not aware, the personal statement is probably the most important essay you write for all the other colleges. So, in a sense, prompt number 8 could be also the most important essay you write. Let's dive right in. Open-ended essay, uniqueness. Here's the prompt. Beyond what has already been shared in your application, what do you believe makes you stand out as a strong candidate for admissions to the University of California? Things to consider. If there's anything you want us to know about you, but didn't find a question or a place in the application to tell us, now's your chance. What have you not shared with us that will highlight a skill, talent, challenge, or opportunity that you think will help us know you better? From your point of view, what do you feel makes you an excellent choice for UC? Don't be afraid to brag a little. From the prompt and the things to consider sub questions, one thing I would suggest is to not worry about what makes you a good fit for the UCs. If you had to know, I think UCs are looking for, diversity, inclusiveness, research, innovation, collaboration. These are the aspects, but like every college is looking for that. So don't be concerned about how do I fit a UC system, because I personally think that every college is going to reflect a similar sentiment to a certain degree. In fact, I'd argue UCs are a bit more broad, whereas other private schools are much more specific. So keep an open mind about what you want to say about yourself. I think it's more about what life experiences and skills or values you can bring to any campus, not just the UC campuses. How to write essays. My slide always, do your research, guys. Do your research. Don't know what to write? Do your research. Didn't know what to say? How much research did you do? Research this before you start. So if I had to look up on my own how I'm going to approach UC prompt number 8, I'd start by reading example personal statements. Now, personal statements are going to be around 650 word limited. So 500 to 650, depending on the application you apply through. But you realize that the UC prompts are 350 words. So the word limits are off, but that doesn't mean you can't still benefit or learn from a personal statement. So if I were you guys, I would read a ton of personal statements that you can find online. I'd also Google unique qualities of a student, unique life lessons or values. These are the two that I'd probably do a little bit more research on as well. Also, spend time listing out all of your personal stories. So this is not so much researching online, but introspecting and literally sitting down and reflecting on your life, getting super Zen mode and just pen and paper or document out, just reflecting. Okay, what were the most impactful and memorable moments of my life? When was a time where I realized that my life forever changed? What are the greatest personal or family hardships that I had to go through to get to where I am today? What are my odd quirks? What are my idiosyncrasies? What are my hobbies that people would be surprised to know about me or know that I enjoy? These are the things I would spend the time to just literally sit, think, and list out. If you could do that, then you're gonna have an ingredients list that might be interesting to a counselor like me. Like I'd want a student to present that to me in a brainstorming session. Tips on choosing the best activity or experience. First, try to find a unique or strong experience detail. So in this case here, for a personal statement / open UC prompt number 8, you can try going for a unique life experience. By the way, these are all like suggestions. They're not the only options. I can't list out everything in my mind, but unique life experiences would be the first thing I'd look for in a student. Maybe you move from Venezuela to California, so there's a lot of juicy opportunities there to talk about like multicultural differences, change of life expectations, how it formulated your worldview. Learning stand-up comedy from your uncle and performing on Ballad Street. Maybe you're like a street performer, so that could be pretty unique too. Maybe it's a life experience that forced you to grow. Maybe a hardship or a challenge that made you see the world in a different way. So maybe living with a medical condition, some sort of illness, death, or hardship in the family, financial or otherwise. An experience that completely changed the way you think or what you value is what we're looking for. Okay. So an example of that is maybe your parents no longer allowed you to spend time with your friend who's gay. Or an experience that gives you confidence and offering a strong skill or passion. So this is where you can have a little bit more of a resume flex and a little bit more of a bravado. Remember, guys, don't resume flex too much. You always want to introspect. You always want to have reflections. Just resume flexing is kind of it's kind of gross. So in this example here, I bullet pointed competing in a national entrepreneurship competitions and realizing grander goals to pursue innovation in educational technologies. Right? So having this like vision and this goal. In fact, I'd say so right now that for prompt number 8 or a personal statement, if you can figure out what your grander vision and goal could be, I'd be very interested in seeing a list of those ideas from you. Pro tip, get specific. I'm pulling from the UC Prompt 7 slides, but I felt they were relevant here as well. If you can't come up with a unique or strong experience, then do the following. Number 1, get very specific. So the generic way, the crappy way of writing it is taught underprivileged students STEM versus the specific way, taught the after-school youth students of Anaheim introductory physics and algebra. Do you see how immediately you get so much more texture from your experience? So when in doubt, try to be more specific. If you feel like your writing is very vanilla or very cliche, try being more specific. Number 2, get very personal. So the generic way of writing this is assisted underprivileged kids with their STEM homework. Specific would be, or personal would be, worked with John and Taylor in developing their mental math skills. I guess specific and personal are in some ways very similar. I'd maybe separate personal out by saying personal means you're being much more name to name basis type of storytelling. Hence John and Taylor instead of underprivileged kids or after school youth students of Anaheim. Structure. I think all essays, you can always start off with a hook. Hook is like painting a scene of an important part of your life, that critical climactic moment, and then working your way back into the story and how you led up to that and how that affected you, or laying out the important details that would lead to the climactic moment. That could also be a way to do it too. Many ways to do a hook. Just know that you're telling a story, okay? You're not trying to rinse out your resume. You're trying to sit people down and tell them, here's what I've gone through. Here's a life experience that has led to what I value, what I'm prioritizing, why I can bring something of uniqueness or confidence to your school. Number 2 part in the middle is the life experience and the challenges itself. Make sure that you describe the experience and how you initially reacted to it. Include an early reflection of how you might have initially had doubts or concerns. It's always great to introspect that way, guys. Don't just give me a middle paragraph where you're just chugging through the points of your life. Like, here is A that happened, then B happened, then C happened, right? Instead, it's A happened, and it was rather unexpected. And at the time, it made me really uncomfortable and unaware. But it was that unawareness that drew me or gave me the drive to pursue then B activity or B experience, the experience B in my life. Do you see, if you just go A, B, C, it can get very rote. So then if you inject in between A, B, and C, introspections of doubt, introspections of concerns, that can usually create a much more believable, much more warmer story. So I'm going to recommend that. Include an early reflection. Explain what you did to overcome those doubts and lean into your personal growth. Share an achievement or milestone you've reached as a result of that growth. Lastly, reflect. I think personal statements in prompt number 8 is really about reflections. It's describe how you value the experience altogether at this point in your life. Define how it has shaped your values. Write about your future plans and hopes. Be specific about the goals, grander visions that you have as a result of all this. That no matter anything else that happens in life, the things that you will always pursue, the things that you'll always value, the confidence that you have to bring X quality into any situation will always be there. These are the kinds of statements I'd want us to end with. These grander visions, ambitions, confidences. Nice and simple. Decide to keep it short. I think I like this format. It's actually easier for me too. If you have any additional questions or have any feedback, you know what to do, guys. All right, let's move on.